Thank you for taking the time to listen to this short presentation. In the next 10 minutes, we will be taking you through some of the changes that have been made to the IFRC Surge system, including the new competency-based approach, the introduction of the rapid response personnel label and the rapid response role profiles, and lastly, the new catalogue of services.
Over the last decades, IFRC and its national societies have created and continuously developed capacities on global, regional, and national level to respond to the needs of vulnerable populations affected by all kinds of disasters and crises. A range of tools have allowed this to happen, including the emergency response units, known as ERUs, the field assessment and coordination teams, known as FACT, the regional disaster response teams, known as RDRTs, and the regional intervention teams, known as RITs, to name a few. However, the systematic review of the surge response system in recent years, including the Global Tools Review, surge-related working groups, and initiatives on regional level, has also demonstrated deficiencies in the system. Thus, a comprehensive surge optimization process started in 2017 and have since then developed several transformative changes to the way the IFRC is coordinating deployment of international surge personnel and assets to emergencies.
In this presentation, we will not explain the entire surge optimization process, but in summary, the overarching goal with the surge optimization process is to have a surge system that deploys the right people and services to the right place at the right time, as local as possible and as global as necessary. In the following slides, we will introduce what this means for you as an individual wanting to deploy within the surge system, as well as for those of you working with the recruitment, deployment, and development of surge personnel. After extensive consultation with IFRC officers and over 65 national societies, it was agreed to move away from previously used labels such as RDRT, RIT, and FACT, and create a new label encompassing all surge personnel. The new label is to be free of past preconception and bias, and instead embody how staff and volunteers have equal access to surge deployments, based on competencies. After extensive consultation within the movement, the label Rapid Response was selected.
Here, we want to make it clear that those of you that have deployed or are trained as FACT, RDRT, or RIT are now also automatically considered part of the new IFRC Rapid Response personnel community. The ERUs, however, are not incorporated in the new Rapid Response personnel tool as they remain as standalone units. But from now on, all surge personnel that deploy either in their own region or globally are referred to as Rapid Response personnel. In the new guidelines for IFRC and National Society deployment of rapid response personnel, you can learn more about the process for regional and global deployments. The Core Competency Framework for surge personnel. What is it and how should it be used? The Core Competency Framework has been developed and agreed in collaboration with a wide range of stakeholders within the movement as part of the surge optimization process. It has been developed by looking at existing competency frameworks of the IFRC, particularly the IFRC Emergency Team Leader Competency Framework, as well as competency frameworks of other national societies and other humanitarian organizations. It has taken lessons from all of these frameworks, but has been developed specifically for Red Cross and Red Crescent surge personnel.
The new Core Competency Framework is applicable to all surge personnel going forward. This means that everyone deploying within the surge system is expected to possess these competencies. The Core Competency Framework, together with the role profiles that we will explain in the next slide, should be seen as the underlying tools for an objective and transparent approach to recruitment, selection, performance management, and learning and development. Having this framework in place will mean that receiving national societies will know the skills available to support them, and deploying national societies will have tools and support for recruiting and developing their registers of personnel. People in the surge system, or those who want to be part of the surge system, will know what they are working towards and what they are being assessed on. What is a role profile and who are they for? A role profile is a description of the job to be carried out, along with the core and technical competencies required to be successful in the role. These role profiles will be the same regionally and globally, so that no matter where you are deploying, the expectations are clear, consistent, and transparent. These are generic profiles that should be accompanied by specific terms of reference for each mission. The role profile consists of 4 components. The role, a description of the job to be carried out. The profile, formal requirements of education, experience, etc. The core competency, as defined in the Core Competency Framework for surge personnel, and the technical competencies, defined either directly in the role profile or in a separate technical competency framework.
The role profiles and various technical competency frameworks have been developed jointly by IFRC and National Society staff from operations, technical units, and human resources. In March 2020, a little over 60 role profiles have been finalized and made available on the catalogue of services. Additional role profiles are currently being developed and will be added to the catalogue of services during the year. The role profiles are to be used as the tool for both the individual wanting to deploy and develop within the search system, as well as for those working with recruitment, selection, and development of search personnel. The role profile allows us to provide a complete picture of the job requirements, increase the likelihood of selecting individuals who are likely to succeed in the job, and enable a more systematic and valid selection process.
The competency-based approach and practice. It is not possible to properly assess someone against all the required competencies for a role profile on one occasion. This means that, for example, when interviewing a candidate for a position, only a selection of the most important competencies can be assessed. This does not mean that the individual does not need all of the competencies to perform effectively in a specific role. It simply means that only a few are being assessed during that interview. The idea is that as an individual is deployed on missions, attends trainings, is interviewed for other positions, etc., he or she will be assessed in a number of ways against the different competencies. As mentioned in the previously 2 slides, the Core Competency Framework and the role profiles are the underlying tools for the competency-based approach. In addition to the competency framework and role profiles, additional tools have been developed, all with the purpose of ensuring a competency-based approach to the recruitment, selection, and development of surge personnel.
In this picture, we have visualized when and where these tools can be used, both by the individual wanting to deploy and develop within the system, as well as for those working with recruitment, selection, and development of search personnel. In this new search system, national societies are encouraged to recruit and select individuals against the agreed role profiles. Likewise, when the IFRC issues search alerts going forward, based on the request of the receiving national society, the relevant role profiles will be attached to the email alert. This will also make it easier for national societies with search personnel capacity to put the right people forward. To ensure a transparent and fair selection of candidates, a new selection matrix has been developed, and the IFRC Search Desk will use this matrix to assess all candidates put forward against the relevant competencies for each of the role profiles. The end of mission and training appraisals have also been updated to include assessment of the relevant competencies and not only the objectives of the position. Finally, looking at the personal development, the competencies needed for the different role profiles can be acquired in a number of ways: face-to-face trainings, e-learning, on-the-job training, etc. There is also a disaster response training team set up in the IFRC office in Budapest that is developing online self-assessment tools, learning pathways, and other tools to help guide individuals wanting to deploy and develop within the search system.
The catalogue of services is a consolidated catalogue where all the global surge services we collectively provide are listed and described. The purpose of the catalogue is twofold. For those who want to request surge support to understand what is on offer, and for those who want to build surge capacity to understand what will be requested. The catalogue includes rapid response role profiles, technical competency frameworks, ERUs, services, and assets. We encourage you to take a look at the catalogue. You will notice when looking over the new rapid response profiles that we have introduced new titles for positions. There are 3 different categories for the profiles. Firstly, the role profiles that are focused on implementation of programs or specific focus in a technical area will be known as officers. For example, finance officer, public health officer, or cash officer. The roles that are focused on assessment, coordination, and planning of operations within a particular sector will be known as coordinators. These roles are most similar to those previously filled by the FACT team. For example, health coordinator, cash coordinator, or HR coordinator. Lastly, the roles that are focused on operational leadership will be known as managers. For example, HEOPs, operations managers, or deputy operations managers. You can also see how these profiles will relate to one another in an operational structure. The structure remains unchanged from current ways of working. ERUs and standalone officers will report into the coordinator of their respective technical sectors. The coordinators in turn report into the leadership positions. In a large red-scale emergency, for example, as usual, the support services coordinators will report to the HEOPs and the sectoral coordinators will report to the deputy operations manager, previously known as FACT team leader.
To learn more, we encourage you to visit the Catalogue of Services, where you will find the core and technical competency frameworks and the role profiles. On FedNet, under Search Optimisation, you will find more reference material and a frequently asked questions document, further explaining the competency-based approach to search. We also encourage you to get in touch with the Disaster Response Training Team or the IFRC HR and Emergencies Project Officer for further consultation or comments. Now, we want to thank you for listening, and please don't hesitate to share this presentation with those you think have an interest in learning more about the competency-based approach to search.